born to danger, I'm doomed for death and failure. Born a stranger, I never have a clue. Find the meaning I'm trying to remember. If only I could see the past or find a reason to. Trip and stumble, I didn't see that cliff face. Run and grumble, I forgot to eat my food. Neglect the debuff, I think I got it handled. So I bungle in the jungle to be born anew.
All Vera travelers, please prepare for transit. Initiating sequence now.
So there we were, caught in the middle of a river caravan run by the Iron Oceans Guild. As we boogied our way downstream, I spotted an old friend. It was Guts. He was captain of his own ship, and like us, he was ferrying his cargo to a distant node. We briefly said hello, and then refocused on our tasks at hand. As my attention returned to the boys partying on deck and the surrounding fleet, I began to ponder the peculiar juxtaposition, Iron Oceans. Was the name factual or an inadvertent oxymoron? I later learned that seawater does in fact contain trace amounts of iron particles. To be more precise, approximately 1 to 3 parts per billion. This begged the question, was Alito Wuglet a marine chemist or simply a literary dilettante? As soon as we arrived in the desert, I forgot all about our beach novelist. Celebrations were in order as we'd all just made some extra gold. After shaking our tuckuses, we decided to explore the desert. To our amazement, we discovered a solitary wormling roosting atop a towering plateau. But as much as I wanted to tame the majestic creature, I lacked the required skill. So after a few scritches, we moved to another plateau where we beheld a vista of sweeping beauty. And it was there, in the presence of the ever-enduring dunes, that I contemplated my destiny, facing Mykill. I then informed the boys that this would be my last pizza delivery for quite some time. As we ready to leave, Litz asked us all to meet him in Halcyon. He'd apparently discovered something which he claimed might benefit me before my fight to the death with Mykill. Upon arriving in Halcyon, Litz informed Chafedog and myself about the impending doom. He explained that a great cataclysm would soon destroy our world, but that we might be able to preserve our memories through essence. To achieve this, we first had to travel to Noela to find the living box. Along the way, we met a traveler named Irvas. He was a timid lad and was initially quite hesitant about our claims, but upon urging him to reconsider, he shrugged and said,
Sure.
We then made haste for an alleged tower tucked between the hills around Noela. The alleged living box, as Litz had described it, had taken up residence there and apparently held the secret to preserving memories. It felt strange to look upon a ruin as old as the one before us, knowing that it too would soon meet its inevitable end. But I pushed the thoughts of death aside and descended toward the tower with the others, prepared to face whatever danger awaited us. As we snuck deeper into the tower, we spotted ghostly apparitions guarding an oversized chest near the ground floor entrance. We discussed an approach and then readied our weapons in preparation to ambush the foul undead, knowing that our victory meant the possible preservation of our memories. With Chafedog leading the charge, we fell upon them with the vicious ferocity. Unfortunately, however, Irvas drew too close and succumbed to the overpowering undead magic that disintegrated him into a pile of ash. With the others having been knocked out, I followed the monster outside, loosing my arrows one after the next, until finally I felled the beast with one last shot. After Chafedog and Litz recovered, Litz obtained a scroll from within the monster, read it, smiled, and said we needed to get drunk at the gem spring. On our way to the gem spring, we traveled through Lionshold, where we spotted a welcome sight. It was one of my brother's, Master Smoke's Miraleth traditions, a horse line. So naturally, I decided to stop to share word of recent events, but found that not everyone was interested. Upon hailing the horse riders, Kazan's initial response was rather brazen, but we delivered the news regardless. At least some of his friends reciprocated interest and expressed concerns about the impending doom. When Litz tried explaining the situation in more detail, one of the riders admitted that they didn't really care. Needless to say, the reaction baffled the three of us. Both Litz and Shafe attempted to clarify that they too would die, but their warnings fell on deaf ears. when I inquired if they were new to Vera, Kazan puffed out his chest and said,
You do know who you're talking to, right? This is the #1 PvPer in the world.
At first, I was taken aback. I thought we were talking to a pasta variety plate eater. Thankfully, my baking lawyer sheepdog informed me of an accurate example. Having confused the others entirely, let's step forward and put it plainly for them. They then unexpectedly complimented our mushroom caps, to which I replied they didn't matter, because soon everything would be destroyed. Having failed to convince the writers of the impending doom, we pushed onward. It was frustrating encountering so much skepticism, but we had so little time to spare for dismissive jests and needless posturing. Soon after, we met Mog. Our ill-fated news prompted him to tell us a story about his outhouse diving uncle. Apparently, the foolish man had no soap to wash himself clean. Even so, it wouldn't matter. We explained that our world would soon be destroyed. He then stated that it wasn't his real uncle, but rather a family friend. We next chatted about Burrito Day and how it causes a variety of bowel movements, or a lack thereof, and then finally returned to the matter at hand, our untimely destruction, which somehow seemed like a fitting transition, considering Burrito Day caused its own impending doom. Sadly, Mog saw no reason to tag along and decided to stay behind. With heavy hearts, we bridled our steeds and wished Mog and the rest of his flatulent fetish family well. May your winds always power your sails and lead you to cleaner waters, Mog. It was a short journey to the Gem Spring. When we arrived, however, we encountered a rabid bunch of wild beasts, including crows and translucent spiders. With the path cleared, we approached a dazzling pond, above which floated a glistening crystal, exuding an emerald essence. Although the air was thick and difficult to breathe, we pressed forward with our intentions. Litz then traded me several mana pots, which I was supposed to imbibe. We stated our preemptive salutations in the name of Treasure's good friends and pizza. With a huzzah and hurrah, we chugged as many mana potions as possible until we were so inebriated that we all thought we could taste the color purple. And I kinda liked it. Reminded me of grappa. After a wicked hangover, I returned to search for Mykill. It wasn't long before I heard his voice carried on the wind. Fate had seen to it that I finally faced him 1-to-1 in the wilderness. I felt sorry to leave the group I just formed outside the Citadel, but Giga, one of my trusted bakers, understood and urged me to go. I invited them all to come along to witness the great standoff, but the others had commitments which required their attention. As I readied to leave, I sensed that a great change lied ahead of me, something more than this impending doom. It was more personal, more transformative. But no matter how much I focused on this elusive feeling, I couldn't quite place its origin. It was along that solitary ride that I began to reminisce about my journey and the good friends and family I'd met and grown with along the way. I first thought of my mother and how I'd missed her dearly. Her absence had left a hole in my heart. I then thought of my brother, Master Smoke, and felt a swelling pride and gratitude, for he had propelled our pizza enterprise to new heights with his entrepreneurial acumen and culinary expertise. There was Razor, our baker extraordinaire, who taught me new ways to flavor dough, and even taught the other young bakers how to make grandma's sauce. Litz, our storytelling potions master, brightened our moods when we were low and encouraged us despite our tribulations, even going as far to save our lives. And then there was Trident, our arcane savant. And there were many more who I'd come to call my friend, and I knew that no matter the outcome, they'd be proud of old Porcini, pizza baker and leader of our fungi fellowship. As I approached Mykill's second-in-command, Kaboom, he motioned toward the horizon, where Mykill and the rest of the gang were fast approaching. I felt a chill run up my spine. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. It was the promise I'd made to my grandfather from beyond the grave. Mykill then turned to face me, when suddenly a giant bullywog hopped toward him and licked his ass. But I was no ass licker. Although many Vec do eat spoiled meats that smell like butt crazedly came to mind, I was a pizza baker, a master of marinara, and rightful owner of grandmother's recipe, which Mykill now floated out before him to mock me. It was then that I noticed the approaching caravan. Was this some kind of trick? Did Mykill plan this too? Had he already invested in his own pizza pie delivery service to profit off my grandmother's sauce? He claimed as much to be true. Had I already lost? I felt a nagging notion of defeat. I tried to ignore it, but my confidence had been shaken and my anger awoken. A sense of regret enveloped me with a tidal ferocity. I knew Grandpa only ever wanted me to face my fears, so I kept his words in mind and tried my best to keep my cool. It was then that the others let slip that the caravan was in fact not theirs. The entire encounter had been incidental, which Mykill had fabricated to make me panic. The revelation incited Mykill's ire. It seemed I was finally gaining the upper hand. But Mykill refused to admit the truth. He instead boasted that his business would include more than just pizza pies. He'd made plans to make cheesesteaks too. We were at an impasse because Litz had expressed a similar interest.
Enough! We must end this here!
Very well. Win or die, I told my grandfather that I would face you.
To die or win, I told my son I would face you!
You have a son? Who?
His name is Kaboom!
Oh my god, get it over with.
Wait, how old is he?
He's 18!
21 questions. This guy over here.
Enough!
Very well. Let this be a lesson to your son. My heart began to beat like a Vec war drum, and my palms began to sweat. I tried to steady my draw, but Mykill was too fast. He was too skilled. I tried to react, but it was of no use. Mykill's sword crashed down upon me without mercy. I cried out in terror, and then suddenly all was gone. An eerie silence fell over me as I disassociated from my corporeal form. I first felt my spirit rise above my body, and next saw Mykill and his son Kaboom standing over my remains. While Kaboom did the finger dance on top of my corpse, my spirit began to gravitate upward. I felt myself being pulled towards some ineffable power beyond comprehension. And then there I was, flying skyward, my little mushy cheeks flapping, my noodly arms wiggling. I felt my spirit lifted from the madness of a physical world. And as I fell through space and time, worlds and wonders passed me by. And though they tugged on my curiosity, there remained embedded in my soul. Without warning or worry, I found myself moving toward a comforting warmth, which appeared to emanate from behind the blinding light, parting a still and impartial darkness. And though I understood that I was marching toward a new beginning, I couldn't quite grasp as to why. All I knew for certain was that I was now and forever to be remade as Bungleborn. Happy trails, travelers, wherever you are.